Victoria Bakare, and welcome to the Women in Leadership and Business Show. Today I'm joined by, I can't even tell you off my head, so I had to write it down because hey, so I'm joined by Dr. Oyinkansola Odunjo. If you're not Yoruba, Oyin means honey, getting into wealth, right? Yeah. So imagine that mix. Tip. Yeah. So Dr. Oyinkansola Odunjo is a lecturer in business management at the University of Greenwich. She earned a PhD in management from the University of Bath in 2021, and her academic journey and professional achievements exemplify a dedication to advancing knowledge in the field of business management. Okay, in addition to her academic role, Dr. Odunjo has experience as a volunteer English facilitator, right? Yeah. Where she assisted Japanese students in enhancing their English speaking and writing. Dr. Odunjo's career reflects a commitment to education, cross-cultural communication, and the empowerment of individuals through knowledge sharing. Did I mention that she's also a global talent recipient? Did I? And did I tell you about scholarship? Anyways, enough of me rambling off. I just wanted to tell you guys, that above all that Dr. Yinko is my friend. Do you get it? She's my friend. Wow. Okay, so welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Victoria. It means a lot to be here, and I'm excited to share, my life experiences with people who need to hear about it, and I'm looking forward to all that this interview has in store for us.
Oh, that's really nice. So what comes to mind is, I know I've introduced you the way I think I should. Yeah. Maybe I didn't do enough justice.
I think you did.
Oh, because I was about to say maybe you should introduce yourself.
I think you've done it perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, we are going to take it a little bit back, and I just want you to tell us today that how did your journey start? And I'm not letting her do anything today. She's going to tell you guys exactly how great she is. Wow. So how did the journey start?
Well, from the heydays when I was a child, I would say I've always been interested in education. Everything education just sort of called out to me. I think it took a while before I could understand that it's something that actually calls out to me. Education generally. I just didn't know why I was so hungry for school, for learning. I said to myself that if I wasn't a lecturer right now, I'd probably be a principal of a school, of a primary or secondary school, or I would own my own school, my own academic or educational edifice. So education has always called out to me as other things call out to me, which I don't want to delve into right now. But I would say my journey into the academia began after 2015 upon completing my master's degree from Covenant University in 2015. And at that time I was trying to navigate the murky waters of career trajectories and what's next for me, what do I want to do. I tried getting into all this KPMG and co, writing all these aptitude exams. It didn't work. I don't want to talk about it, but it's not just work for me. And so a very close friend of mine, sent me a link to a training program, I would call it, at Lagos Business School called Young Talents Program. For people who see themselves in the academia in the future, just an opportunity to just let you understand what the academia is about and those kind of things. I thought it was a very good idea, so I applied, and good enough, I got in. And then I went for the program. When I got to the program, I met one or two familiar faces. It was such an amazing time because I got to understand a little bit of what goes on in the academic world, right? How people, there's just a prestige that comes with having a PhD, or a prestige that comes with being an academic or a lecturer or a professor, but this prestige also comes with its own challenges, misconceptions and those kind of things. So it was a good time to just get into the mind of a regular academic and see what they actually do. And so by the time we were done, they said to us that they are opening up opportunities for management scholars, almost like an academy, right?
Yeah.
For people who saw themselves going into the academia to apply and then come in. When they're able to come into such a program, what happens is that they get trained for 2 years on how to write a proposal or how to get into writing academically.
Yeah.
And the future in them becomes for you to travel out or maybe within the country, wherever, to get a PhD and launch into the academic field and those kind of things. So I decided I was going to apply. I did. I went in for the interview and good enough, I got the job. And then that was in late 2015, and that spanned into 2017. So throughout from 2015 to 2017, all I was doing was learning the ropes of how to write a literature review, how to engage in research methodology, and how to craft out what it means to contribute to knowledge theoretically and practically. So we got to learn all those things bit by bit and on the go. Very practically heavy.
Yeah.
I met people like me who were also interested in that, and that really helped. I'll talk about that as we go on in the interview. That really helped, meeting people who are also passionate and hungry to make meaning out of their lives through knowledge creation, through engagement with academia and those kind of things. So 2017 came and I had to start making applications to universities. I cannot tell you how many applications I had to make, but I made a lot of applications.
If you're putting in a number, that would be like how many?
To be honest, I'll say over 100 applications.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, to be honest, I'll say over 100.
Over 100 applications.
So I spread the applications and this is not without me saying that I had a lot of help from my mentor, and who happens to be my mentor now, Professor Tayo Tubanjo. He was really instrumental to helping me carve a niche within this area, within this path. I would say I owe him a lot of thanks for that, because he really just sort of directed myself and my other colleagues in understanding the path to take, on how to apply, how to make applications, how to approach potential supervisors for a PhD and those kind of things. So I applied to those universities, and I'm summarizing because I know there's still opportunities to go deep, but let's just keep it summarized. And so yes, it's 2017. I made applications and I got into a number of schools without scholarships. I wasn't looking for scholarship.
Of course.
Of course. So I got into a number of schools, but obviously not all of them gave me a scholarship until I got to almost to the tail end of the program.
Wow.
Then I got 2 scholarships from a university in Scotland and from a communications school in Scotland, because I have a background in communications. I'm from a business school in Bath, which is University of Bath. So I weighed my options and prayerfully I decided to go for the University of Bath, where I began my PhD in 2017, spanning into 2018, 2019, 2020, and December 2021, I completed the PhD. Thanks to God and thanks to everybody who supported me on that journey. And then from 2021, I delved into my academic career
before we are delving,
my sister.
Before we are delving, did you guys hear that Dr. Oyinkansola had to? So there are certain things I heard from her story.
Yeah.
The first is you networked within where you were currently.
Yes.
So you were not just sitting hands folded and just expecting opportunities to meet you. You started working exactly where you were, going to LBS, understanding the opportunities that are available in your local, and then from there, the next opportunity opens up. So literally, if you're thinking of something like this, you need to be willing to network, be able to reach out to people. I think something I wanted to ask you was the mentor.
Yeah.
How did you meet your mentor? How did you come about it? Was he your lecturer or was it just an introductory kind of thing?
So I met him in Lagos Business School.
Wow.
So when I met him, so how do I put this? he was mentoring someone who I knew
Okay.
from back in the days of my bachelor's degree. Her name is Shirola Bodi, that's her name.
Hi, Shil.
So he was mentoring her at the time. So when I met her during the Young Talent program, she introduced me to him.
Oh, cool.
Right, and then from there I told him that I was very interested. I told him immediately that I was interested in the Management Scholars Academy and all that. And he said, fine, let me have your proposal and let's see how that goes. And that's how my relationship with him began. He has been very instrumental to not just me, but to a lot of other young people at that time who were trying to also get themselves into the academic space, always, encouraging us to make applications.
I think you want to say thank you to him.
Thank you very much, Professor Tayo Tubanjo. I know I will find a way to make sure Victoria crossed this path and sends it to me so I can send it to you, sir. Thank you very so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. I don't think words will ever be enough to say thank you for how you just helped to just chat. I feel like, and it makes me see how important it is for us as we grow, right, into a different kind of adulting. That people who are younger need us. They need us more than they say. Right, because in our minds we feel, I don't want anybody on my case. I need people. I just want to be by myself, do my own. Nobody should tell me what to do. But my brother and my sister, you are blessed if you find an older person who is willing to leave all the important things they have to do, and hold you in high regard and want to help you chart a positive course to your life. So that's how I met him, and our relationship is still. He has become more than a mentor to me now. He's almost like a family friend. My dad knows him, my mom knows him. He was around for my wedding. He was the one who was the chairman of my wedding. He knows my husband. He knows my children. So it's one that I really hold in high esteem. I don't take him for granted.
You don't play with
I don't play with him.
You don't play.
I don't play. So yeah, that's how I met him.
No, that is beautiful. And so what we are hearing right now is the importance of mentorship. At times you can't just find your mentor when you are really confused, but you might as well leave your confused state into doing something worthwhile, and then most likely than not your mentor finds you while you're doing something relevant, because then your mission and vision kind of aligns.
I think
so that's like the best time to like get mentors. You don't just shoot blanket. You need to find yourself first. What you really want to ask from this person. Like she mentioned, people are busy. Even if they're happy to like show you the way, they're busy. So that means find yourself, figure out the questions you want to ask the person, ask the one-off question, and then see if they're willing to take you on as a mentee. Anyways, this is not about...
I'm sorry to just add to that. I think something else about mentorship relationship is being open to being vulnerable. Being okay with saying, sir, ma, I don't know. Right? It's okay to not know. So that if you tell them you don't know, they're able to guide you. But if you tell them you know, but you don't know, you're not being the one who is in the limo. You're just confused, and you can't go back on the word at that point. Do you see what I mean? So I think it is important to be vulnerable. I know we live in a very information heavy age where all you want to do is just type ChatGPT, tell me what to do, and you think you know what to do. But the difference between knowing what to do and applying practical applications.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very important to always bear that in mind as well. So
thank you. So guys, we're not planning to talk about mentorship, but I think we did a good job to that. So before we continue this live, if you would just share with someone, because now we are going into the scholarship details, how she got the scholarship, a bit of how much, based on the range she would like to mention. She might not mention the entire thing before you guys start telling her to send you money. My babe is rich though. Okay, she's not telling you how much it is, but it's quite substantial and it's really good. So she'll tell you about the scholarships and some of the platform where she was able to get some of the scholarship. Then you guys can check. So we're giving you like a minute to share with friends, share with your community, share with your church people. Share on your WhatsApp stories. This is an answer to some people's prayers. And then we'll be back in a minute. You need to go and share. Okay, I'm hoping we've shared now. And now we're going to go into the scholarship.
Okay.
So I know the next question is like, what role did education play in opening doors internationally? But this international doors started with the scholarship and everything. So we're going to dissect the scholarship, things you're comfortable talking about, the areas, the places, how you got it, and what people should be on the lookout for when they're trying to like get scholarship. So someone, I don't know if you're watching Amza, there was someone who commented on my last video, and it was like, is still in high school, I think, in our context in Nigeria, but he's in Ethiopia, and he wanted to know how he would come into the UK. And I'm like, oh, you need to do great in your current education path. So Doctor, you can finish your first class. I'm not saying it's only first class people that get the scholarship. I'm just saying, so if you're still in the process of making a first class, you might as well make a first class. It makes it easier. So yeah, I'm going to stop going on and just let her explain the scholarship part to you.
Okay, scholarship. I think I should start with pointers. So maybe that's it. So you want to get a scholarship. I think the first thing you want to do is to know what the requirements of the scholarship are. So for example, when I began, thinking about the idea of getting a scholarship, I was thinking of the United States, US. I was thinking of the United Kingdom. I was thinking of Canada. I was thinking of other countries.
Okay.
So for the United States, for instance, you want to get a PhD scholarship. You want to get on GRE, for instance.
Did you have to do GRE?
I know my study a lot of things. But
wow.
So you have to get on GRE, you have to get very high scores.
Yeah.
Because the high scores would be the entry point to schools noticing you. That's in the US. When you get the GRE and you have a very high score, then you can speak to a potential supervisor, which takes me to my second point. You have to do your research. Most people can tell when you have
done your due diligence
and when you have not. And doing due diligence is not just about cramming everything about the university. Oh, the university was founded in 1875 and so. No, it's about finding how your values align with the values of the institution. Right? How do you fit? Because I can tell you for free when there's a misalignment in fit, you will become stressed at some point with working there or with schooling there. So in your mind you're like, I just want to jack back. I understand. But trust me, when there is, and you say, oh, the fit will find itself. The fit will not find itself in most cases. So if there's a misalignment in fit, you will struggle. Right? So, which is why you have to do your due diligence. Which is why you have to search for supervisors, for instance, who are aligned in your area of interest.
Yeah.
So you have to have an area of interest.
Again.
So you can see how everything boils down to you as a person knowing what exactly it is you want, right? And then doing your due diligence. So that's with the US. For the UK, you need to write a research proposal. Alright? You need to write, and the research proposal is almost like questioning something new, something novel. What are you contributing to knowledge? What do you hope to contribute to knowledge? Now, before you can know what you want to contribute to knowledge, you have to know what obtains already. So for example, imagine if I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people on this table, 4 people on this table discussing about how to cook rice and beans, for instance, how to cook rice and beans, right? And I walk in and I want to give them my own idea of how to cook rice and beans. What makes me know that my idea is novel? Is by listening to what every other person has said first. Oh, well, I cook my rice and beans, I pour the rice and beans at the same time. Oh, me, I fry my rice and I fry my beans. Oh, me, I pound the rice, then I do concoction. Everybody has their different methods, and then it comes to you like, oh, well, for me, this is how I cook mine. Oh, wow, I've never heard of that before. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But if you do not go that route to see what's going on with other people and what people are conversing about, it just feels like a waste of time. So what do I mean? What I mean is this. For example, you're researching on an area, maybe, I don't know, give me an area. A subject area.
CSR.
Why are you giving me CSR? Give me another one.
Yes,
No.
She did CSR.
No. Give me another one. Why are you giving me CSR? Software. What's that your own?
Oh wow.
Your own.
AI, artificial intelligence, application to health. Oh, you have
that one is alright. So AI application to health, for instance. So you want to do a PhD in that area, the relationship between artificial intelligence and healthcare in the UK, for instance. The first thing you want to do is to go into the literature. Literature, I mean Google Scholar. Look out for peer-reviewed journals of what people have said about artificial intelligence, the relationship between artificial intelligence and health, right? Exhaust yourself, sit down and read. So you can see, and I'm saying this because I don't think people understand how much time these things take.
It does,
and it takes a lot of rigor and it takes a lot of effort, right? I know ChatGPT is going to save the day now, but still upon still, you have to do the work. So you read about all those things and find out what the gaps are. By reading, by immersing yourself in literature, you begin to spot some gaps and say, why haven't they spoken about it in this angle or in that angle? Then bring that out and create a research proposal around it. That is what you do in the UK. Canada is more of GRE as well. You have to write GRE and get the top score. They might need your proposal as well, but it's good. It's just always good to have a proposal. But UK is very heavy on research proposal. So the first thing I did was to get a research proposal ready. So that's all the thing I said. And so after getting the research proposal ready, I had to research for potential supervisors who were researching the area of sustainability, which is something I was interested in at the time, social responsibility, and then I began to find some professors, some lecturers who were interested in the field, and then I would send them my proposal and say, I am interested in this area. Would you like to supervise me? I would like for us to have a chat. I can tell you what this area is about. If they happen to like you enough and they happen to like your proposal enough, they could call you for an interview. And when they call you for an interview and you impress them enough and they see that there's a fit between yourself, their research, and the university's wide interest, they could give you an offer. If they don't see that there's a fit, then you might not get an offer. So sometimes, and this goes out to people who have tried and then it didn't work out. It might not be that I don't think it's a question of your intelligence. It's not a question on your competence. It might just be an issue of fit and alignment. And the same thing with the job market as well. You've applied and it feels like nothing is happening. It might not be because you're not great in paper. It might just be that they don't see a fit, sincerely, right? So that's step 2. And then you've written your proposal, you sent it out to the supervisors, they've called you for an interview and they like what they see. They could give you an offer. And if heaven favors you, there is some scholarship that the university, and most universities usually have pots of money. I don't know what is happening now because of the present situations in most universities, and of course I'm sure most of us know what's happening, the crisis going on in the academic world, especially in the UK. Excuse me. And so most universities usually have pots of money that they dedicate to research, right? And so if you then get a scholarship, a professor could poach it and say, hey, I'm supervising this young lady. I think her proposal is good. I want us to try and give her some money that she can use to carry on with this research. So these are the internal politics that then go on within that make them say, okay, we're willing to sponsor you. Another route you could also take, if this is something you want to do, is to go on findaphd.com. Now, findaphd.com has a lot of topics. They have professors who will come out and say, I'm looking for a PhD to supervise in the area of, and they will write out a particular topic. The reason why they are interested is because they are looking for ways to also enhance their own research. So it's a double-edged sword, right? So you get your own research, they get their own research done, they get their own research done, right? And you get your own research done. So that's a website where you can find an exhaustive list of topics about areas of research you're interested in, whether it's education, it's biology, it's communications, it's business. Findaphd.com is a good place to go to. Another site that I think is helpful is jobs.ac.uk. I'm sure that Victoria will help type it out as well in the description. Jobs.ac.uk is very helpful as well with finding PhD topics. So what I did, another example of what I did was when I was also hunting for PhDs, I went to find a PhD.com, and the university in Scotland was looking for a PhD in the area of communication and dialogue. They needed someone to write about the area. So I picked it up and I collaborated with two of my very good friends, colleagues. That's Dr. Eugene Ohu and Dr. Amuzia.
Were they doctors then?
Well, Dr. Eugene was a doctor then. Esther was my colleague.
That's nice.
So we all collaborated and we're like, okay, what can we write about this? I'm starting trying to create models around, theoretical models around the topic, just something creative, right? And then by the time we finished, I was able to send it to the university. They called me for an interview, and immediately I finished the interview. The next day, they gave me the scholarship. They said I should come in and start.
The next day?
Yeah, they literally the next day. So but interestingly, when they told me I could start, they said I should think about it. So 3 days later, University of Bath came back to me and said they are willing to offer me a scholarship. So it was a very hard one. If University of Bath didn't come to me and say anything, my heart was already there, because communication is like my baby. I had my bachelor's and my master's degree in communication, so I was happy to go.
Communication.
When the University of Bath School of Management called us and said they were willing to give me a scholarship. So I think those are the things to take note of. If you want to go the scholarship route, you have to know what your interests are. Look out for universities that align with your interests. We need to put in the work, understand the conversations that are happening within the field, right? And find supervisors who are aligned in terms of fit and are willing to supervise you. Go all the way. I know that it's rigorous, I know it's time consuming, I know it's not like doing statistics, 1 + 1 is equals to 2. You're going to read, you are going to try to extract the juice from whatever it is you're reading, but at the end, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah. Thank you. At the end, it's going to be worth it. You can start asking your questions, whether on live or if you're using the Google Doc link that was shared earlier, any of it, because we'll soon get into the question and answer session. We're trying as much as possible to not go beyond 8:15. That's it. So something very intriguing for me. Why did you choose the UK and not the US at the end, or it just happened?
Because that's where the opportunity was for me. That's where the opportunity stood for me. Because I tried the US. I went GRE twice.
Oh my!
Looking for one, amazing score that would wow them and say come. But I just did not get the score, to be honest. And but UK just seemed like it paved the way. I have colleagues who were able to get those top scores and went on to get PhD in economics and all those things. So I think I would say at the end of the day, it's almost like cast your bread. The Bible say cast your bread on the waters, and after many days you find it. At the end of the day, you just never know which will be which. But the idea is for you to try spread your tentacles as widely as possible, because you just never know which will be the favored, which will be the golden egg favored one.
So like just try so many. Just apply. Keep applying.
You might feel like is it that you lack focus? I have one of my closest friends, for instance. I think she only applied to 2 universities.
Wow.
She got 1 scholarship and she moved on. She did
she didn't do the merry-go-round.
No, she did not. So I think everybody's path is different, and which is something that I also talk about as we go along. It's owning your path, owning your reality, embrace it fully, and understand your own journey and be willing to commit to your own journey. You will see other people with their own journeys, and it's fine to admire them, but you must focus on your journey so that you don't lose track and all that. So,
thank you. I'll let you finish your water. So you finished your PhD in 2021.
Yeah.
Was it after the PhD? First of all, how was it like being an immigrant? Then you were in marriage.
Yeah.
Maybe towards the end you got married,
yes,
had a partner, the husband, then
excuse me.
Loneliness is a bit, But in the first instance, the first period when you relocated from Nigeria, how was it like creating a new community from scratch?
I will tell you for free that it was hard, especially the first year. I think what helped me the most was joining an African church.
Oh, okay.
That definitely helped.
Yeah.
Because I needed familiar faces. I'm sure that if I didn't join an African church, maybe that was taking a while. I would have still acclimatized. But what really helped at that time was joining an African church, meeting people who were on the journey like me, fellow immigrants who were on the PhD journey. I remember Dr. Sunday Oladuni. He was, I think I was in my first year. He was in his second or third year. I can't remember. So he was an older colleague. But his words of wisdom always wowed me. I would always go to his office. He would always counsel, pay the price. And he's such an amazing man. Pay the price now. Like, I know it's hard, but pay the price now. You are setting the pace for your future. Hearing those things while I was that young, I didn't know how it shaped me, but it shaped me. So meeting people like that definitely helped. But the first year was very lonely and it was very hard because this was my first time of being outside the country, or being schooled outside the country. Okay. I cannot lie to you that even the issue of the accent came into play. Sometimes the lecturer will be teaching in class and keep.
Whoa. There's a video of God. There's a video of God regarding the accent thing.
Yeah. So I would find it difficult to really understand what was being said, to really catch up. I felt like there were a lot of knowledge gaps with it, so I had a lot to catch up.
But with time, you got used to it.
With time, I got around it.
So when I first migrated here, I was so confused initially. I'm like, are they speaking English?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I've spoken English all my life in Nigeria, and I'm like, what is this?
It is well.
And they said, the British accent is even easier than the Scottish.
The Scottish is different, man. Oh my days. Scottish is different. I have a friend who stays in Glasgow, and I hear a song talk, I just burst into laughter. I'm like, what?
Oh my god, that is so nice. But you get used to it. You get used to it as you get used to anything with time.
With time.
Yeah. So now we are done with school. I want to touch on immigration.
Okay.
One thing people struggle with is after schooling, certain people do not want to necessarily go back to their own countries.
Okay.
And how did you find the global talent visa? And is this something you advise people to look into? By the way, I have a video of global talent visa in the description. I'll put it in the description also. Okay. But this is for the academia world. I'm very used to the tech world, so we need to hear from her as well regarding that visa.
So when I was done with the PhD in 2021 and I graduated and everything, there were several options that I had. One was getting sponsored. I think it's the issue of sponsorship, right? Getting sponsorship by an employer, right, that will get you to stay in the country and all that. So there's the option of getting sponsored by a university. So you go into a job, you go into a job and they're willing to sponsor you for a number of years, right? Yeah. But that comes with its own kind of implications. One, you have to stay within that institution for as long as they will be sponsoring you. So if you decide and say, oh, today I'm not interested in this school again, say okay, but that's bye to your sponsorship, and you have to look for another sponsor that will sponsor you,
or you go home.
As you go on and you go back home.
Yeah.
Right? So, but the global talent on the other hand was a friend of mine. That's I think it was Dr. God bless Akaye. He's also a colleague that I met in Lagos Business School. Oh. So he was the one that I was having a conversation with. I was like, oh, global talent. Global talent. Oh, okay, what's that about? And he was like, oh, so the global talent means it removes that restriction, right? So you can apply for it, and when you're given the global talent, what then happens is you can cross carpet to as many universities as you want. But the only caveat there is it has to be an academic job. You can't say you're on global talent, academic global talent, and tomorrow you say you want to go and work in HMRC.
I didn't know that.
My daddies and mommies know. Because it will count. It will count in the future. You see what I mean, right? So you're the one that has to decide. So it depends on what what you're cut out for. So I cannot say which I would say is preferable. I have friends who are sponsored by universities. I have friends who are on Global Talent, and I would say I think it's only a matter of time. I think it just depends on your circumstance and all that.
So at the point where Global Talent or sponsored by the university, so does that mean after Global Talent, when you are finally settled in the UK, will the person still be tied to the academia, or now you can explore?
No, I believe that once you're settled, you can explore an industry.
Oh, okay, so
like,
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool then.
Yeah.
Cool. So you see, I'm giving you guys gems. You see, trust Dr. E. Gosh, you see, if you don't know about Global Talent Visa before you're worried, you need to relax. It's quite expensive, by the way, right?
Yeah, I believe it's expensive actually.
Approximately like how much?
Just that. Let me think about it because I can't remember.
Anyway, it's quite expensive, but it's doable because if you have a target in mind, you can start working towards that. Also, when you have like scholarships and all the other stuff, you can start saving towards this end goal that is at the back of your mind all the time. Okay, quick break. Tell us about your trip to the US, the one you've never told me about. Yes.
Oh my days.
Tell her to tell us. Show us for your conference. Okay, so before I met her, before we became friends, but she did. And then I read the story and I just kept on laughing. She's like, I looked through the plane. I'm like, oh wow, this is nice.
Yeah, we know.
I'm like, oh, my girl in America. Only thought we need to travel, but anyways.
We should travel. Yeah.
So, okay, enough of me playing around, and let's talk about career.
Okay.
So, how easy was it to transition from being a scholar, then into lecturing, and then into impacting people's life? I know we've spoken on a certain level where you're very impactful to youth, and we get these cute messages from our students. Lovely messages. They're telling her, thank you, Dr. Oyi, for that. I'm like, my God, life is made. So how did you find yourself? How did that transition happen? Was it like really hard? Did you have to go through hurdles upon hurdles? How did that go?
I would say I went through a lot of mental hurdles. It got to a point in my life where I was even confused about if academia was for me. I thought maybe after academia I would just finish the PhD. That's it. I'm gonna be a singer. I don't have time. Like, I need to pursue purpose. I must pursue purpose. Yes. So I will just a lot of mental hurdles I went through. I went through imposter syndrome a lot as well. I didn't think, where you can almost talk yourself out of rooms that God has brought you into. You say, oh, by the way, I'm Christian. Oh wow, I don't think I'm worthy of this. By yourself, with your hand, you remove yourself from where God has placed you. Right? So if God has placed you in a particular place, if life has positioned you in a particular place, you have to own it and believe that you belong there. If not, it will take more time for you to acclimatize to that new world. So I'll say I went through a lot of mental hurdles in those two areas. What was the question again?
How did I transition?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that helped me with my transitioning was being patient with myself and extending grace to myself.
Nice.
Accepting the fact that I have a PhD does not mean that I am the most intelligent person in the world, and it's okay. I don't know why people. There was one time we were playing one game. I remember I will never forget. There's some things that will never leave my mind. We were playing one game when I was doing the PhD. And it was about all this geography as in state and capital, like USA, what's the capital? I'm terrible at what? Me. You don't call me what's that? No, that's not me. I am not interested. I mean, I love people who are interested in current affairs. Current affairs is not my thing. It's like I have to really, really go out of my way to sit down and open bbc.co.uk just to know what's going on. I'm not interested. Like, I know I can do better, but I'm not just interested, and it's okay, right? This is part of the extending grace to yourself that you have to do. You don't have to know all things and be all things. I don't know if you see what I mean. Because there's always that perception that because you have a PhD, then means, oh wow, you must smoke coming out of your head. no. Let's just remain human, please. Thanks and God bless. So anyway, so I didn't get some questions in terms of the correct address. She says, you want to she PhD. It was an older woman that said this. I'm sure I did not give her the look because I don't want to her, but in my mind I gave her the look like, what? Do you understand? So, but in a way, those kind of small situations began to make me feel like, if you don't, I want you to know this to be a whole PhD. I want you to know this to be a whole PhD. And those things can keep haunting you. I'm sure that there's someone on this call that I'm speaking to that understands what I'm saying. Those words keep haunting you. You keep feeling like you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough, you don't know this, you're not enough, you don't know that, you're not enough, you don't know how to analyze business case, you're not enough. Calm down. And just extend the grace to yourself forever and ever. And this is something that I was reflecting on about when you sent me some prompts and some questions. I said there are levels of education that you must accept. There's education at an institutional level, understanding what's going on in your sphere of influence. There's education on a personal level where you align yourself with the values that shape the current sphere of influence that you belong to, right? So for example, as an academic, you have to be rigorous, you have to read, you have to embrace those kind of values. But there is now the place of education that never stops, where you keep on learning, you keep on relearning, you keep on unlearning, and that is a life. How do you say it? It's a lifelong learning. Thank you. It's a lifelong activity. Thank you.
You just keep learning.
Yes, you just keep learning, and you have to be in that space where you are okay with that, right? So that's something I had to do. I had to give myself a lot of grace. I had to accept that I didn't know all things, and that's okay. I'm okay with being on my path, and I'm okay with learning, unlearning, and relearning. I think those things really helped me to begin to transition slowly but surely into the kind of academic I want to be. And the kind of academic I've also always wanted to be someone who is approachable, someone who is humane, someone who understands the needs of students, right? Not just an academic who is just detached and saying, you're here to school, why are you coming late? As opposed to, hey, I noticed you were late today, what's going on? I remember there was one time when I was teaching some students, and one of the students who comes to class early a lot, she came late. But I didn't. She said, "Oh, teacher, I'm sorry." I said, "Oh, that's fine." But I noticed her countenance was different. She wasn't her usual vibrant self. So when we took a break for 10 minutes, I called her to the side and said, I want to see her in the other room. So we went to a closed space and I said, hey, I noticed you're not yourself. What is going on? And she broke down.
Oh no.
And she explained what was going on with her personal life to me, and why she's struggling and all those things. And it gave me the opportunity to just encourage her. And that's the kind of academic I want to be. I want to be an empathetic academic who is in tune with the needs of the people who have been placed under her. Right? Students, I want to be more empathetic like that. So for me, that's who I want to be. Now, another academic could think of something different. I just want to publish papers, and that's great. But for me, it's about the heart first. It's about the authenticity of what I'm doing first, and how it applies to me as a person, how it fits into my personality. So by the time I began to understand my path in that way, it began to weave the kind of person I began to become. I would look forward to going to classes more than I would even look forward to going for teachers meeting, the lecturers meeting, or departmental meeting. I'm like, oh my days, those departmental meetings can be very daunting. It is well. Because they'll just keep talking. I'm like, hey, it is well. Let me not digress. Anyway, so I just found that I became more passionate about students, and it showed in how I would teach them. I would give them relatable examples. They would give me relatable examples. I would always tell them, you don't have to get the answers right. But let us have discussion. I want you to leave the class knowing something better, as opposed to being pressured that I did not get 70 or 100. That I want you to learn. I don't want you to just see this as an opportunity to you finish from school, you just want to get a job, and that's what you want the certificate for. I want you to think about my class and say, wow, I remember when Dr. Owen said. Because that's the kind of teacher I always wanted to have when I was a student as well. A teacher who was concerned about me, who was concerned about me learning more than just getting good grades.
So how did you get the job?
Which job?
This lecturing job. Was it like you went on LinkedIn and then or is based on network, or is based off of, I don't know, was it easy or was it like really tough?
It wasn't easy. I would say I got a lot of no's before I got a yes.
Everybody gets that.
I got a lot of no's before I got a yes. Even I would get no's even from places I thought I should get a yes.
Yes, wow.
So that's why I said it's never for me. I stopped taking it personal when I get a no. I don't see it as there is no fit, and it's okay. Because I know what it feels like to be in an environment where you don't have fit. You will be stressed, you will be discouraged easily, and your drive, your morale will drop. You see, so yeah, there was a lot of no's before I got a yes, but I would say still jobs.ac.uk, there are always opportunities there for lectureship positions and whatnot. So my first job was a fellowship, was a we're teaching fellowship at Bayes Business School, City University of London.
Okay.
And then from there I transitioned to University of Greenwich with a permanent role as a lecturer in business management. Both of which I found on jobs.ac.uk. Of course, I think LinkedIn always helps, but LinkedIn, it also depends on who you know and who is committed also to helping you share resources. And if people know enough that, I think Oyin is looking for something, I should send her this. That's something my supervisors would always do.
Nice.
Send me resources, you should apply for this. Whether we apply for or not, it's up to me, but they should do their own bit and all that. So
yeah.
The only place that I found solace was going to class to teach my students. And so for me, that was my encouragement. I was happy to always go to class to teach.
Did you see why she did something with authenticity? Authentic, babe. Consistent, telling you how it is. I mean, thank you so much for being so vulnerable.
Of course.
On here. While we are talking authenticity, do you guys know that this woman is a mom of two? Beautiful woman. Wonderful. I just want you to quickly say something to my babies, which are your babies. Just say something really nice to them. Like, talk to an 18-year-old them. So if they look back at this interview, how did your mom feel about them? You know that intersection between career and motherhood is quite tasking. It's quite, I know, it's very, very tasking. Finding the relative balance is, it's not a day's job. It just keeps going on and on. So if they look back 18 years time and they're like, it's my 18th-year-old birthday, I run into this interview with my mom, what would you want them to know about how you feel about them?
Okay, babies, I want you guys to know that I love you very much. It has been, standing on this side has been a very difficult season, as I'm sure both of you don't know, but when you get there you understand. So I'm sure you guys don't know, but I'm willing to go through it all for you guys. I believe that I have been placed in your life to steward you, to steward your destiny, and I will do the very best I can to do that. One of the ways I can steward you is by being successful at what I do. I have to be a reflection of what it means to be an embodiment of excellence as a woman, right? So that by the time you mature or you morph into adulthood, you see that it is not impossible, right? I want to be that. I want to mirror that to you by God's grace. I want you to know that you are worth it and more. You have what it takes to be all that God has called you to be. People with their voices will come and they will almost want to drown you, but refuse to be drowned, my dears. Refuse. Say no. Refuse to be drowned. Like, forbid it. Refuse to be drowned. Choose to live your authentic selves. I don't need you to be a professor. I don't need you to be an intelligentsia. I just need you to be who God has called you to be and to live authentic lives. Enjoy every season. See, every season must bear fruits, right? I know that no two seasons are the same, but you must bear fruits regardless. So be open to bearing fruits in whatever way you can, whether it's by, encouraging someone, writing a letter to someone, meeting a financial need. Just be someone who is open to bearing fruit. For guess what? As you continue to bear fruit, God will continue to prune you the more so that you can even bear more. right? So no seasons are the same, my children. I want you to just hang in there, keep going at it, and you know that I love you. Myself and your dad, I love you very much.
Oh, that's so cute. One way. I hope you guys are clapping online.
Clap, please.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions, and the first one is, they know you're not willing to share what the amount was,
okay,
but can you give a range as to how much they can actually access if they go for scholarships? Regarding, I don't know.
So it's not really about the amount, all right? It's more about, so when I got the scholarship from University of Bath, thank you. So when I got the scholarship from University of Bath, they were happy to cover my tuition for the whole 4 years.
Okay.
I'll have to check how much that is. I think that must have been around, I would say 30 grand per year, 30 to 35 grand per year. They were open to also give me stipends of roughly around 14-15k.
Nice.
Right? Stipends, and of course, meaning for food, for housing, and in your mind you think, for 14k, that's a lot of money.
No, it's not a stipend. That's why it's stipend.
I remember inside joke. I remember the first day I got my first official salary. That is not a stipend salary. I saw the money. I said, "What?" I'm so sorry.
You said, "What?"
I said, "What? What's going on here?" I was like, "Oh my, wow!" So so that's the breakdown. So they usually will cover your tuition, then they'll give you stipends that you can use food, housing, your clothing, and just your day-to-day, just so you can get by. What most people do is, while they are then doing that, they can then get some side gigs, like teaching gigs, or they can maybe work in hotels, just anything, catering. You can just find something else doing by the side. My advice though would be, as early as possible, get into teaching. Right? Just get into teaching. Get yourself accustomed into teaching. Start learning how to speak to students who are not Nigerians, who are not your regular cultural fit. Start the process earlier so that you won't get to the final year and you say, "Hey God," and you start shaking the final year to teach. No, you cannot be shaking, Sam, please. So start early and all that. So
Thank you. And the second question is, these scholarships, are they only available for PhDs, or they can also be accessed by MSc seeking students?
Unfortunately, MSc scholarships are not that many. And even if they are very, very partial. I mean, I say partial. They say, we need to give partial scholarship. So if your scholarship, if the whole school fees is 15k, they will give you 2k. Please, what's that? Do you see what I mean? I'm not saying it's nothing. I'm just saying you still have to look for source for the remaining funds. So it's usually mostly applicable to people who maybe also do masters in research. They call it MRes. So with an MRes, you can transition smoothly into a PhD, right? Or you want to go fully into the PhD. So that's when the scholarships are usually available for, because it's research. And most universities have pots of money that they dedicate to research. You see, but for masters, it's entirely different compared to a PhD.
Okay, so there's this question. They end up being in the academia world? Must they always teach? And I know a lot of researchers also cross into tech. So some of them work in research in tech, like tech-driven organizations. So I want you to.
I don't think you have to stay in the academia. I think for me, what has happened with me is this has just been where I've found my passion. Right, I've wanted to morph into consultancy and all those things, but it did not just work for me. And I'm being as honest as possible. Maybe I'll try again in some years, and I'll see how that works. But I think you have to make up your mind on what you really want to do before the PhD is over. It's not when the PhD is over and now start saying, "Oh, I want to try." I think like there's a path you you go through when you want to teach. There's a path you go through when you want to research. There's a path you go through when you want to go into consultancy, grant application, all those things. And there are different conversations you're having. Imagine if you want to go into consultancy, you're not necessarily going to be going for academic conferences.
Yeah.
Or you'll be going more for, tech, maybe symposiums. You'll be going for more of. So I'll say you don't have to be a teacher, or you don't have to go into lecturing after the PhD. You can decide whatever it is you want to do. Just make sure you are passionate, because passion is a huge driver. I know some people will come into the UK and say, let's hustle it out. Hustle is important. But for me, who is very passionate about authenticity, I would say to you, make sure that there is a fit and you find yourself within what you're doing, so you don't lose morale and you don't lose drive.
Thank you very much. Before giving one final word, something that I probably did not ask, and you just like to put it out there. What you studied or what you researched and came up with is around CSR. Yeah. So how do that usually play out in daily living?
I think for me, one of the findings in my research was more about the authentic side of corporate social responsibility. Now let me explain. So for example, you have, I don't know how many of us have heard of social responsibility initiatives where businesses are trying to sort of contribute to a community, for instance, and they maybe create like a program for it.
I think I know about
those kind of initiatives. But what I came to discover was that most of them could be perceived as not being authentic for various reasons. One, there is no fit between what they say and what they do. Or there is no fit between what they say and who they say they are. So for example, you find an organization saying, oh, we are eco-friendly. You're eco-friendly, yet exhaust emissions is happening every now and then. How there is a misalignment, so it does not seem authentic.
Okay.
So if people don't perceive it as authentic, they will not show up. They will not believe you. They will not patronize you. They will not be interested in your product. And they just cancel you in their minds. So what my research then contributed to knowledge in that area was talking about the role of experience. How it's not just about telling people who you are, it's about getting them to experience who you are. Right? So get them to experience who you are so they can see that you are authentic. So it's called experiential authenticity. Right? So when they begin to understand who you are by participating in some way, by giving them some ownership into what exactly it is you do as an organization, then they might perceive you as being authentic. So that's what my research essentially is about.
Is it CSR for like education?
Corporate social responsibility.
For education, like the education.
I'm sure there would be, and something that I could actually explore, because I'm also looking for ways to apply it into daily living, like you said, as well, aside from business organizations, what about schools? Why are students not interested in, give me a notebook and give me a pen and this, that, and we find people are just like, these people, they are just being shady, they are being shady. Why do you think they are being shady? You think they are spending your money. Why do you think they are spending your money? You don't think that they are living up to the standards that they set for themselves. So that's essentially what my research is about, and it's interesting. It has morphed into how I even see life and people. And I realize that if there's a misalignment between who you say you are and what you do, and your experiences and what you do. For example, you say, I don't know, I'm a fit farm, fit farm. And then I see in McDonald's every other day eating burger. Fit farm, come, you're fit what? You're a fit farm, you're a fit farm, you're eating.
Oh my goodness.
Are you laughing? No. Do you see what I mean? So I don't think it applies even to our everyday lives. How you have to stay authentic. Right? How you have to hold on. You have to be honest about your values and ensure that you're expressing them and you're living them out, right? If people don't see you as that, they will tend to see you as shady.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But and they might not know why. But it's almost like a perceived kind of thing. Like,
yeah, you're not really authentic.
I don't. I'm not feeling that vibe. She's not giving authentic vibes.
She's not honest.
So I think that has slowly applied into everyday living.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is that a wrap?
Let me see. Check my notes to be sure.
Check.
And I know that there's some things I'd also added to my notes. So something else I also add is that you have to stay consistent. Consistency is the name of the game. And I don't think it's just about academia, it's about every area of your life. Consistency, small steps every day. You will be shocked. I know I said something, for example, about literature review, about reading journal articles when you're trying to write a proposal, understanding the conversations, and in your mind you're like, does that mean I have to read 200 articles? Don't worry about the number, just start.
Yeah.
One day, just read one article per day. Read one article per day and go and buy yourself ice cream. And say, I'm done for today. Okay, drink water. Yeah, I like ice cream. So, I think consistency is very important as well as you begin to grow yourself as an academic. I don't think anybody, it is a follow-come thing.
No.
You know, that someone they just give birth to the person just knows how to write. It's not true. People put in the work. People put in the effort. So when you see them louding it on LinkedIn, don't think it's because they are trying to press your neck. They're not pressing your neck. They put in the work and they are happy to announce the results. So consistency is very important. And as I'm saying that to you, I'm saying that to myself as well. Take out time to read, take out time to write, take out time to critically reflect on what you are reading and writing. Within academia, every sentence has a meaning. Every paragraph must be communicating something. So to teach you how to write like circumspectly, to teach you how to write succinctly, like you're not writing just to fill up words so that you'll say, okay, it's 10,000 words. No, you're writing every single word, every single sentence is giving meaning in some way. And then lastly, as I wrap up, I would say, let me see. It's not about achievement, it's about impact. You always have to ask yourself, am I making impact with what I'm doing? I think sometimes we live in a very performance-driven society.
Very performative.
Go on Instagram and you understand what I mean. Everybody is doing something. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying make sure whatever it is you are doing, you can measure for impact. Not just about achievement. Oh, I've done 200 Instagram lives. Do you understand? So help me to measure impact, right? Something else I also said here is that I'm trying to I think I've talked about authenticity already, and I said it's not really about you when it comes to career path, choosing a career path. It's about the world you're trying to change. You know, the moment you are small-minded about whatever it is you're doing, you find that you become you lose steam easily. Any small thing, you're already angry. What's all this nonsense? I don't have to be here. I can resign and move on. But when you begin to think about the bigger picture, the generations and generations unborn that you're trying to influence, you think about philosophers, for instance, Socrates, Plato, and all these people whose works are standing the test of time, and their work is still there. Their work has lasting value. That's what we want, right? So it's not. I want you to go live this life with a larger than life mindset, saying it's not about me, it's about the generations after me. There are people whose books we have not stopped reading, and we will never stop reading. It will always be a point of, they call it seminal articles in academia. You must read them. How will you say you are doing this particular subject and you not read this paper? They'll know you're lying. That's the kind of life we want to live. Whether you want to be an academic or you want to be in tech, whatever career path you decide you want to choose, have a larger than life mindset, have an abundance mindset towards whatever it is you're doing, so that in the days that it gets hard, you don't lose steam and your passion keeps on, getting stronger and stronger. So I think I'll rest my case here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oyinkansola Odunjo. So where can people find you? Especially if someone's like, I need to consult this woman for. She does consultancy, by the way. You pay. So where can people find you? Just let them know.
Well, I'm on Instagram at the Oyinkansola Odunjo. I think maybe we just can put in the description.
Yeah, I can.
I'm on LinkedIn as well, Oyinkansola Odunjo. I have a website.
And you can actually book her via the website. So.
Yes, you can book me via the website. And what else? Yeah, but you can find me on those channels. And thank you very much, Victoria.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to my hosts, because you're one person who is very passionate about women, and I think it is important that women are able to learn how to advocate for themselves, especially when it comes to life, be lifing. You become a wife, you become a mom. There are many things, and there's sometimes you can just forget yourself, right? So I think it's important for women to always, just keep encouraging one another. Women supporting women, that kind of thing. But I think it's actually important what you're doing, and I trust that God will lift you up to higher ground as you keep doing this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alright guys, this is where we end.
I don't want to go, but I have to go. You have to
enjoy yourself so much.
I'm having fun. So if you have more questions, you can be. I know that they also cheer me up. Cheers guys. Bye.